Good day everyone, this is Group 3 and now we're discussing about Kartilya ng Katipunan. So what is this Kartilya ng Katipunan? First, Kartilya is a word adopted from Spanish word cartilla, which means a primer or a guideline that every member of the society were expected to follow. So basically, Kartilya ng Katipunan is the primer of the Katipunan. So how about how and when this Kartilya ng Katipunan started? Here's a brief historical background. As we know, Rizal and others like Del Pilar, Graciano Lopez Haina, they all tried to push for change in the Philippine society by means of peaceful reforms. However, after the deportation of Rizal in Dapitan in 1892, there came Bonifacio and other radical members of the La Liga Filipina. And they believed that the struggle for social change through peaceful reforms has resulted into failure. So in order to achieve the social changes, the group decided to gain independence from Spain by means of armed revolution. So they organized the Kataas-Taasan, Kagalang-galangang Katipunan ng mga Anak ng Bayan, or KKK, or simply Katipunan. So obviously, the leader or supremo of this organization, Katipunan, was Andres Bonifacio. He is also the one who first formulated the code of conduct for the Katipunan and to whom the Katipunan Decalogue was attributed. However, upon reading the Cartilla drafted by Emilio Jacinto, Bonifacio decided that this Cartilla by Jacinto was superior than his Decalogue, and so he adopted this as the official primer of the Katipunan and ordered to be distributed among the Katipuneros. So undoubtedly, the author of the Kartilya ng Katipunan was Emilio Jacinto. So now, you might be wondering where can we find this Kartilya ng Katipunan now? Consequently, the Museo ng Katipunan located in Quezon City has now hold one of the copies of the Kartilya ng Katipunan. Lined with innovative and conventional exhibits, the Museo ng Katipunan tells the story of the clandestine organization of Filipino revolutionaries, from archival documents, amulets, and cryptic messages, and even the bladed weapons used by the Katipuneros up to the Cartilla and the Decalogue of Katipunan was or are can be seen throughout the museum. And is this Cartilla ng Katipunan a primary source of our history? Undoubtedly, yes. The Cartilla ng Katipunan is a significant primary source of the Philippine history. It is the official teaching and admission document of the Katipunan, and there has been an earliest references of the Kartilya ng Katipunan found in the minutes of a Supreme Assembly meeting in December 1895. So, this Kartilya ng Katipunan as a primary source was classified as written and a published document, written by Emilio Jacinto himself, and it is the only document in any length set in print by the Katipunan.
Good day, my name is Miles Aeroson. So today I will be presenting to you an external criticism of the Kartilya ng Katipunan. So there are numerous articles who claims that the making of the Kartilya was dated on 1896, wherein it was the Supremo or Andres Bonifacio who wrote the 14 rules of the Kartilya. But an earliest reference of the Kartilya ng Katipunan was found in the minutes of a Supreme Assembly meeting held in December 1895. So I provided a link there where you can see and verify. So this link also has other documents and studies about the Katipunan. The authorship of the Kartilya has always been credited to Jacinto, and this claim is actually never been challenged nor questioned or I guess disproved successfully, because the sources for this claim is or like the evidence of this claim is very strong, and this actually has been derived from the book of Sensational Memoria of Isabella de los Reyes, And this book, the sources of this book includes several senior Katipunan veterans. So moving on, Bonifacio had originally intended that his decalogue should be printed and handed to the new recruits of the Katipunan. However, when he read the draft made by Jacinto, the draft of his cartilla, this was mentioned earlier, so he realized that Jacinto's cartilla was way better than what he has made, and so it was decided that the cartilla will be the official primer of the Katipunan. So I also found another source from a popular website, which is Wikipedia. And they said there that it was actually Jacinto who first wrote the cartilla, and then later Bonifacio found out about this, and then he was inspired, I guess, which is why he later wrote a revised decalogue. However, this is not um, a reliable source of information. I just wanted to remind everyone that Wikipedia is not 100% accurate or like reliable source because it is user generated, meaning anyone can edit the information there anytime. And although it has some built-in editing or like checking feature, however, since thousands of articles are edited every day, it will actually take weeks or months for all of this information to be corrected. So the two texts are not really comparable, the Cartilla and the Decalogue, because the Decalogue resembles the Ten Commandments. However, the Cartilla has 12 guiding principles and 14 teachings. So principles and teachings in Tagalog, layan and aral. So the content of the Cartilla will be discussed by the next reporter, who is in charge for the internal criticism. So I actually found a secondary source, which is from the book entitled The Liberty of Light, written by Jim Richardson, and this book is said to have a direct translation of the original Cartilla penned by Jacinto. And the historian Richardson claims that Cartilla is the best known document of all the Katipunan text, and it is also the only document of any length that was printed and is still known to be existent up these days. So that would be it for my report. So these are the references that I chose. Thank you so much for listening. The next reporter will now take over.
Good day, everyone. My name is Erica Gwyneth Relacion, and I will be discussing the internal criticism of our topic. Kartilya ng Katipunan was originally written by Andres Bonifacio and was later revised as Decalogue by Emilio Jacinto. But the authorship of the Cartilla has always been credited to Emilio Jacinto after Bonifacio decided that Emilio's Decalogue is superior. The Decalogue had dealt primarily with one's duties to God, country, family, neighbor, the Katipunan, and himself. It spoke of honor, charity, and self-sacrifice, but warned of penalty to the traitor and disobedient. It is written for the Katipuneros to have enough understanding and knowledge of the rules they have to live with. Cartilla resembles the declaration used in Manila's Masonic lodges, which is a declaration that had presumably been written in Spain around 1889. The Cartilla echoes the Masonic document's stated purpose, which is to ensure that candidates fully understand the association's objectives before making a commitment they might later repent. The Cartilla is addressed as to those who want to join the Katipunan, and in the Masonic document, to los profanos que deben inscribirse en la sociedad, and as a sign and proof that they accepted all the objectives of the association, they are to sign with their signatures to pledge their allegiance that they became a member of their own free will. All the other rules of Cartilla were influenced by many people, like Benjamin Franklin, who stated, "Time lost is lost forever," which can be read in the seventh rule. Also, the adage that an honorable man's word is his bond. may be traced back to Cervantes in Rule number 6. One precept is taken from Rizal, that is, life which is not dedicated to a great idea is useless. Declares Rizal's fictional insurrectionist Simon in El Filibusterismo, which is also in the first rule of the Cartilia. The Cartilia also drew inspiration from the French Revolution's Rights of Man and Citizen. It is a predecessor to the 1948 Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which Jose Rizal supposedly translated into mga karapatan ng tao o tao, and circulated in the Philippines just before the Katipunan's foundation. To emphasize Enlightenment influences on Katipunan thinking, some say effaces the originality of documents like the Cartilia, which may be found in the nuanced sense of their Tagalog. The Tagalog words that resound loudest in the Cartilia beyond doubt are the equivalents of the Enlightenment's defining watchwords like liberty or kalayaan, equality, lahat ng tao ay magkakapantay, fraternity, kayong lahat ay magkakapatid, reason o katuwiran, progress or kagalingan, and enlightenment itself, kaliwanagan. The Museum ng Katipunan tells the story of the clandestine organization of the Filipino revolutionaries. It is where the Kartilya ng Katipunan Code of Conduct located, where the intertwined lives of Bonifacio and Emilio was highlighted from Kartilya and to Katipunan Decalogue. Instead of simply reproducing karapatan ng tao, Jacinto and Bonifacio adapted and changed it in order that it may be implanted more deeply into the minds and hearts of the Katipunan followers.
Good day, everyone. I am Andrea May Solatorio, and today I am going to discuss about the importance of Kartilya ng Katipunan, how this event impacted to us Filipinos, and also what are the learnings I got in this event. So to start with, first let's talk about the importance of Kartilya ng Katipunan in our history as Filipinos. So this published work by Emilio Jacinto was a significant input to our history both then and now. Given that this book discusses moral principles, standards, and guidelines for all Katipuneros throughout the period of Spanish colonialism. So it is important because it establishes the framework for how Filipinos generally think. It also enables us to understand our objective better. So today, throughout this document, the Cartilia served as a proof that Filipinos were united to achieve their goal. It is not only a piece of writing, but more importantly, it signifies the moral characters of those who fought for our independence. And now let's talk about how Kartilya ng Katipunan impacted our life as Filipinos. So in my perspectives, it impacted to us Filipinos in a way of first, unity. So as the Kartilya ng Katipunan, it is served as the guidebook for new members of the organizations. So with the help of this event, it can teach us Filipinos to be united since it can be the key and it can also be the key for us to have a good relationship with others. Second, patriotism. We are all aware that patriotism is the sentiment and act of being one's nation, and feeling a sense of community with other people who feel the same way. So it impacted the life of us Filipinos since it is essential, especially among younger generation. And with that, it can make our lives even better. So the third one is the motivation. So for me, this event, which is the Kartilya ng Katipunan, motivates the life of Filipinos to do good things. And lastly, let's talk about the learnings I get from this event. So as what history told us, how the Kartilya ng Katipunan changed the Katipuneros by obeying what's inside their book is. So, the following are the learnings that I have gathered and add on my life as a student. So, first is the nationalistic. So, as a student, I show my love to our country in a way of supporting local and also being proud of what really ours. So, next one is the equality. So, through this event, I learned even more that it is a must to show equality towards other, whether their skin is dark or pale, and also especially the when we talk about religion status. So third is the unity. Unity from Katipuneros taught me how united can do. As a student, unity is very important because it can help you to socialize with other people. Fourth, fourth one is the time conscious. Even the Kartilya ng Katipunan stated that time is gold. It can contribute to myself, for it is a great opportunity to have excuse me, self-awareness. So, and the last one would be the good moral. As a student, I show my kindness to other people to become a model to some people, and in that way, I can contribute the good moral in others, which I've learned in this event. So, I think that's it for my report.
Good day, sir, and to all my classmates viewing this discussion. My name is Sir Patricia B. So for today's discussion, I'm going to discuss the continuation of the topic, Kartilya ng Katipunan. So let's proceed. If I had to choose a person, I would choose Emilio Jacinto. I know you guys will ask why, so that I explain why. To answer the first question given, discuss how this person be a great relevance in our time today. So, Emilio Jacinto was a brilliant and courageous young man who was regarded as both the heart and the mind of the Katipunan, Andres Bonifacio's revolutionary organization. Jacinto contributed to leading the fight for the independence of the Philippines from Spain throughout his short life. The relevance of the Kartilya ng Katipunan and Emilio Jacinto to the time today is that the people were made aware that the Katipunan was a Philippine revolutionary society in which its primary goal was for the country to gain independence or the freedom from Spain through a revolution. It is one of the few recorded documents of the Philippine Revolution that survive today, and hence provide a perspective to modern generations on how this code contributed to understanding our history and how it shapes the present. So the second question, how will he influence our young people and our citizens of our country? As a young people also, he influenced me and us by his nationalism, proclaiming the rights of the people, spread peace in the nation, and stop the colonization of the Spanish Empire. Their resolve and unity cannot be hindered. Together as one, all can be achieved. Emilio Jacinto is truly a remarkable man. His contribution to the Philippines will always be remembered. He is someone who should be looked up to by the younger generation of today's in terms of bravery and patriotism. So, the third question, what can we get from his life and character or beauty? His sacrifices shows and teach us that Filipino back then are intellectual revolutionaries and have a sense of morality who battled by fair and effective service. Without them, we wouldn't be able to inherit the courage and bravery of a real Filipino. Teach us that we should live on the right path. Living on the right path affects the people by being a role model. This implies that everyone is equal, regardless of whatever they have, light or copper skin. Nowadays, pale skin is often praised because it is attractive, but we should also learn about the Kartilya ng Katipunan. We should not judge ourselves based on our physical appearance or embrace Western practices. Instead, we should work on ourselves to improve and appreciate ourselves. We should stand up and show action that resembles love for country. So, that's the end of my topic. Hope you learned something new in this discussion. Thank you so much for listening. Take care everyone and God bless.